We're going to put me on. We're good. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world of Tomato Talk. Top of mind, advancing through obstacles. So, Toastmasters, topic of the day is going to be Toastmasters. Why? Well, because we got the meeting this afternoon also. One day I'll do my hair. Anyway, we have the meeting this afternoon, May 12th, Thursday. We meet on the second and fourth Thursday of every month at 6 o'clock at night. We go until 7:30 at night. We have multiple speakers. We have table topics. We have a word master. We have an counter. One of the most exciting positions. Sometimes we have a quiz master. We have evaluators. We have a Toastmaster of the day. We have somebody that evaluates the meeting each and every day. Why? Why do all of this stuff? And we meet online. Let's be perfectly clear about that. Our club, under current management, and that will change, but under current management, our club is meeting online and online only. Why? All right, why? So what's going on with the whole world of Toastmasters, our club specifically? There we go. We got the comments up over here. The world of Toastmasters. What is Toastmasters? Toastmasters is an international organization, been around for 90 years, I believe it was. Ralph Smedley was the one who started it. He was looking for meetings to be run very much more effectively than I guess the meetings he attended. So he came up with this whole thing with Toastmasters to help people get their thoughts together in some amount of time, to get feedback on what it is that they're saying, and a multitude of other things. It's kind of an interesting story as that has Toastmasters has progressed also. And it's progressed quite a bit over the years. Has it seen its little challenges there with COVID? Yeah, it definitely did, right? When you think that public speaking, and Toastmasters is a nonprofit organization in well over 100 different countries, hundreds of thousands of members around the world, etc. And everybody's looking to do what? Become a better speaker, a stronger leader, better speaker in front of people, not in front of cameras, but in front of people. Then all of a sudden, COVID came along, and next thing you know, we're still speaking in front of people, but now we're on camera. Oh, I should say it pushed, and I can only speak on behalf of our club, Stony Brook Speech Bowls, as to what has transpired with COVID, inside of our club. It was quite interesting. We were meeting on a college campus, Stony Brook University. COVID came along. We did not. we we're a club meeting on the campus, not even a campus club. So we were asked not to meet, and it wasn't just us. It was, of course, all the different groups that were using the campus as their meeting location asked not to meet. And of course, it went even further. And the clubs had issues, all the rest of that kind of stuff. So we went online. Weren't going to go someplace else. We had no idea what was going on with COVID. Went online. So with this move to online, we lost a lot of people because people wanted to speak in front of others. They wanted to be comfortable standing up in front of a room, standing in front of a group of people in an office setting, being able to speak to people in a crowd setting. And one woman that wanted to practice her speech before she was going to a rally. That was different. And now we're no longer doing that. But now we're meeting online, and it changed everything except for the fact that Toastmasters still plays to become a better speaker and stronger leader. How you do that, the vehicles that are being used to do that, that's what's changed. That's what has changed. And then we have a decision to make too as a club. So what do we do? Do we go back when we can? And right now we can't still. Do we go hybrid where we do our meeting, where we have some of our members meeting in person and we have some of our members meeting online and doing a live video stream and having guests or having our members do both? Interesting. Or do we just stay online? So it's a good question. Are we going back in person, hybrid, staying online? So right now, we're staying online. Now, what I say by right now and under current management is the fact that the Toastmaster Club runs until June 30th of each and every year. Starts July 1st, ends June 30th. Every year, new officers get selected. Sometimes it's selected, other times it's elected. It depends on how many people are running for the office or how many people are volunteered to run for the office. But there are 7 officers inside of the club, and they have nothing to do with running the meeting. They have to do with running the club. Fascinating leadership skills get learned that way too. But our current slate of officers did make the decision that we are staying online, which is a pretty easy decision to make at this point in time. So we're staying online. Now, members, what have we seen happen with the members? Massive turnover. Absolutely incredibly massive turnover. From what I've been told, we're not the only ones. So be it. Massive turnover with members. Why? Because a lot of folks wanted to go into a room and sit down with people. People wanted to learn how to speak in front of people, not in front of a camera. It's different. Definitely different. I can tell you from first-hand experience, it's without a doubt different. So we lost those people, but then we gained people because there was a lot of folks that got to understand the fact that these cameras are not going away. Zoom is not going away. StreamYard, Zoom, whatever platform. Microsoft Teams is another one now, I'm told. This stuff is not going away. What a great communication tool it is, doing things online. What an unbelievable time saver it is, doing things online. Incredible efficiency tool also, going online. Cost saving, going online. And as we move further and further with this thing, it's becoming much more comfortable for many people, still uncomfortable for others. It's becoming much more socially acceptable in the business world. And there, my friends, is why I believe that we, our club, if I have a vote in it, but should stay online. I think, and then my effort is a bit more in the business community too, plus also doing these podcasts. So obviously, where my bias would be on the whole thing, because it's given me an opportunity to try out different things, continue to work with the screen share. Doug, good afternoon to you. Screen sharing and things like that, which I need to get better at, just as an aside. But in the business world, I mean, just think about this. If you have a company and you have multiple locations, or Doug, you're speaking to multiple people across different nonprofits or different people going through different things where it's not the easiest thing in the world to get around, but meeting in person versus meeting face to face is pretty darn similar. Which way do you think you would go? If you're a company that wants to meet with all of the managers, you got 10 different locations. You want to meet with the managers on a regular basis. It's an awful lot of time, energy, and effort, money to bring everybody together. You do it on Zoom, StreamYard, or whatever platform, Teams, and I just use a digital platform going forward. Wow, you can have an hour meeting and it takes an hour, a little bit more for the person to get it set up and all the rest of that kind of stuff, but an hour. You want to serve food during it as a thank you? Okay, good. So you got multiple ways of sending food out to everybody. Easy enough. You want to send out product samples? Easy enough. Just send it out. Go compare the costs associated with all of this stuff. So if you're a business owner, what do you think you would do? Now, one of the issues that still need to be worked on is the comfort factor. How comfortable is everybody using the camera? Well, not everybody is. Not everybody is. But those that are, all of a sudden, those are the people that are going to be presented with opportunities just because they're more comfortable with it. They're going to come across as more confident. They're going to be quicker to raise their hand to say, oh, we're trying to get this group set up on there. How would you like to help them out putting this thing together? Maybe that's a special project for you. Maybe you're in the communications department at some company, HR department. marketing department. I don't know, could be any one of a million and one different places, maybe even production. And you want to get something set up someplace, they might tap you to be the person to go over to help somebody else. Why? Because you're brilliant when it comes to using the camera, because you're brilliant when it comes to using social media, because you're brilliant in any of these areas? No. Maybe you maybe you are brilliant, but maybe you're just more confident in doing it and you just understand it and understand it enough to go do this. This is not that complicated. If you want to do things professionally and all the rest of that, yes. Then all of a sudden it becomes a bit more complicated. So that's why you have experts in different areas. Look, I'm doing this thing from home. Is it decent? Yeah, I think it's decent. Could I be better? Yeah, I certainly could be better. If I need to take this to the quote unquote next level, then you want to know something? I could easily do that. I pick up the phone and I've got, multitude number of people, to do that. So if it's getting something set up, there's always something to do. But most people, most situations, it's not really that. Most situations, if it's a meeting like that, with a company, it's just a comfort level that has to go there. Doug, what do you got there? Zoom is a lot easier for people with disabilities. Yes, absolutely. Then face to face, without a doubt, it's so much easier to you're clicking on a button, as opposed to having to get to move, drive someplace. Sometimes that's a challenge. Yeah, and Doug, you can speak to that certainly more than I can, as that goes. But let me tell you, it's just a lot easier. It's a lot easier. Now, here's the problem with it, though, is that it's a lot easier, but is it just as effective? So I think it puts a little extra pressure on those that are leading the meetings. And that's where practice comes in. And the reason is that it's so much easier for the attendees to tune out. Hey, look, if you're sitting there face to face, you're all sitting around a business table, you close your eyes, everybody knows it. You're sitting on Zoom and you close your eyes, well, if you tilt your head down, you could just say, nobody's going to know. It doesn't look good no matter what. But if somebody asks, hey, you awake over there? I said, yeah, I'm taking notes. He's looking down, taking notes. Do they know? They don't really know. You've got integrity, so you would never fake that. But how many meetings do you go to? People don't even have the camera on. You have no idea. You have the camera on, you got the thing on mute. It's like, you don't know. You don't know. So it's easier for the guests to kind of tune themselves out. But you, the speaker, you need to be more dynamic than before. You need to be engaging. You need to engage your audience more so than probably before. It definitely adds different challenges that go along with it. And that's the point. That's the whole point about this Toastmaster world, right? It's a place to practice. As Darren LaCroix says, it's a place to screw up. And you want to know something? He's right. He's right. Lance Miller is another one that talks about that. It's the crazy aspect of this is that the officers, we have 7 officers inside of a club. Remember, the officers are running the club. The club members are running the meeting. 7 officers come in and they get elected in. Let's say, assume they get elected, not selected. Again, you get a big enough club, there are multiple people that want to run for president, vice president of education, vice president of membership, public relations, secretary, treasurer, etc. Sergeant at arms. Just assume there's an election. That's good. You come in there, you do your thing for a year. Takes you a little while to go figure out. Remember, you're only meeting, depending on the club. Some clubs meet weekly, others meet twice a month, some meet monthly. You have very few meetings that you're actually doing and learning and figuring out how to do your role. Halfway through, 3/4 of the way through, you're like, yeah, I got this. What happens a couple of months later? Boom, you're out. You're out. You now have figured out the role. And Lance Miller puts it, as soon as you get it together, boom, you're out. Somebody else is coming in and they're figuring it out. So how often do you actually have in your club an officer that really knows what they're doing? It depends. It depends on the club and a whole bunch of other things in there. But a lot of times you don't. What a great experience that is. A great learning experience for it. It's also a great opportunity to strengthen that up a little bit more because as a club, you don't want 7 officers running the club and nobody knows what they're doing. That makes no sense. What you do want is some kind of succession within the club where officers kind of grow to that presidency role. They take on the different roles so now they do understand everything that's going on. You also, inside of a club, want to have a mentor, someone that's going to help out the new person. Maybe it's the prior person in that role helping out the new person going through the whole thing. That makes a whole lot of sense to go and do. So this way, the club has got a lot more of a solid foundation as it continues to grow. And let me tell you, over the last couple of years, you really needed a solid foundation in these clubs. Otherwise, they imploded. It was tough. We lost, I think, over the last 5 years, we have maybe 3 of our members that are actually the same people. Something like that. Maybe 5 members that are the same people throughout this whole thing. Look, Toastmasters, a lot of people come and go, they move, whatever. Now moving is not even a factor, right? Because if you're meeting online. But things change and, whatever. There's a multitude of different reasons. So it's generally speaking, we have about a 30% turnover in our club year over year prior to this whole thing. Within the last 5 years, it was 90% turnover. So if we didn't have a solid foundation, some sort of a rolling officers that were able to mentor to go thing, club really would have been a problem. But that's the negative side of it. What about the positive side of the whole thing? Hey, Gab, what about the positive side of the whole thing? What about the fact that, oh my, COVID came along and we're not meeting face to face. We got to go on Zoom or whatever, digital format. It's like, oh man, but everybody's going to tune out. How are we going to do that? How are we going to keep their attention? Well, you learn how to keep their attention. You learn the fact that body language still counts. Yes. Hand gestures still count. Vocal variety still counts. Because sometimes, if you really want to make a point, you'll talk softer, not louder, but softer. Why? If you speak monotone, everything's important, or nothing's important. If you're loud and speaking like that, sometimes people are like, oh man. But if all of a sudden you get quiet, natural instinct is like, what did they say? So as a speaker, when you do go quiet, maybe you want to repeat yourself. Now I know some people have gone to the use of polls. Am I a fan of that? Not really. It breaks the momentum of the whole thing. Even as a speaker, I can tell you, I'm not big on using props and slides and all the rest of that stuff, because if you're using a slide, then what are you, the audience, doing? You're looking at the slide, you're not looking at me. That's such a narcissistic thing to say, is it not? But if you came to hear me speak, why do you need a slide? That's a handout. Do it afterwards. You wouldn't need to put up a slide, make it really, really generic. Big pictures, not a whole bunch of words, anything like that. But even if you put a slide up over here, that shared screen thing, it better be a real good one, and real good one for a really solid reason. Maybe it is to break it up a little bit. Maybe it is to grab everybody's attention. Maybe it's a slide that actually does catch everybody's attention. Could be. Look, and I've used different slides and videos throughout this whole thing here, with the cars and photos and stuff like that. But I'm talking about that photo in there, photos, not a whole bunch of words. I don't put up too many pictures with a whole bunch of words, because then you're reading the words, listen. So that goes there. So what about the Toastmaster side of life? All of this stuff can be practiced in there. And the most important part of it is the fact that you can work the program with good people in the club too, and that's an important factor. But you could really work that program to whatever it is that you are trying to accomplish. Yes, absolutely. Prior to this new Pathways program that we have, if we had a new member come in, and a lot of times I was in some sort of a leadership role over there. I've been in Toastmasters now for, 18 years, I believe it is at this point in time. So yeah, I participated in a couple of things, done a few things along the way. But when people come into that club, when people come into your organization, when people come into your business, when people are involved with your nonprofit, when people are involved in anything that you're doing, when you're creating your elevator pitch too, right? You know what your value is. The question is, what is their pain point? What is their why? Why do they want to talk to you? Now, inside of Toastmasters, what's happening is that we promote it, la da, and then people will come to us. So they know us already. So for me to sit there and go with some elevator pitch about Toastmasters makes no sense. Makes no sense. A question, though, to them that does make sense, in my humble opinion, is the fact that, so glad you have an interest in Toastmasters. What was it? What was it that made you pick up the phone, that send the email? What was that triggering moment? How'd you hear about us? And then that's it. And then start listening in. But ultimately, the question that gets asked that I think is really incredibly important is, what are you trying to accomplish? You can keep that one in your note there too when it comes to somebody coming into your company. I know I was interviewed one time at a company, and they had asked me that. Actually, it's a couple of times. I've been asked that question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What do you want to accomplish? What was it that was you're interested in you in this company? And if you say it's about a paycheck, you're absolutely wrong. You can't say that. You got to say something more than that. If somebody comes out, why the interest in Toastmasters? I want to be a better speaker. Fantastic. Really? So why? What does that really mean? How are you speaking? Are you leading a group of people, volunteers or paid people? Are you a manager? Do you have some authority over everybody? Are you leading volunteers? Are you part of a team? Are you supportive? Or you just want to get more comfortable raising your hand and saying, hey, I have an idea? What is it? What is it? Are you in some technical field and you need to be able to explain things in layman's terms? We had a lot of folks, especially up at the Stony Brook. I had a lot of folks that were in some scientific background over there that understood that they needed to be able to explain this stuff in plain English to others. I actually learned what a quark was. A quark. Who knew? I didn't even know it existed. I don't have a clue in the world. But that was explained to me, what a quark was and how these microscopes operate, the big ones. Fascinating, actually. And I understood it. I understood it. And the person who explained it could have gone into such detail that we had no clue in the world of what it was. I had to give a real presentation in front of real people about something that was for real. And I used the audience over there to get feedback. And I had told them, and if you're going to do something like that, you could allow the members, the fact that you can allow them, you should tell the members exactly who they are, right? Do they need to make believe they're an angry audience? I gave a presentation once about why I thought, and this was in theory, so let's not go crazy on me here, why I thought there should be tolls on the Long Island Expressway. Again, it was in theory. And I was supposed to be presenting this at a civic meeting, and I was supposed to be presenting a topic that was not going to be well received, and it was not. And the audience was supposed to be members of the community that were vehemently against my idea. And what I was supposed to learn on that one was how to handle an angry audience. It was a lot of fun. They got very, very enthused on being an angry audience. It was great, really. It was great. It was a really good thing. It probably has prepared me in more ways than I thought, because when I had to give that real presentation in front of a business that I was working for at the time about something that was technical, that was not going to be well received, I was able to have some experience with this. Was it going to be everything that I was going to experience in real life? No. But it gave me a sense of confidence going into it. So if you're joining Toastmasters, I want to know why. And then the program, let's assume you're going to always be using slides. Fantastic. You can take one of these paths that have to do with using slides. Fantastic. It's good. Use the slides. Get used to the whole thing. In fact, one of the things I probably should do on my next path that I take would be that. This way I get a lot more fluid when it comes to doing those kind of things. But why? Leadership skills, they used, you learn them as an officer of the club, but also inside of the club. The Toastmaster of the day is the leader for the day. What are they learning? Time management. The meeting starts at 6 o'clock and it ends at 7:30. Who's responsible for that to happen? The Toastmaster of the day, not the president of the club. Toastmaster of the day, making sure all the roles are filled, or as many of the roles are filled as possible, and then working the club structure, the meeting structure around that. Toastmaster of the day. The very, very important roles are those that give evaluations. Let's assume I'm the one giving a speech. Actually, forget that. We have a gentleman that is giving a speech tonight. I'm the one that's going to be evaluating that speech. So he's going to tell me what speech he's doing, and I'm going to get a form, etc., and I'll be able to use that to give the evaluation. But you know what would be more important than that? Me understanding what he is really trying to accomplish as a person, as a business person, as a speaker. What is it that he's trying to work his way through that he can become more effective? What is it that he does that he'd like to work on? For me, I speak too fast. I hear that frequently. I try to slow down. So if he was evaluating me and I had the opportunity to speak to him in advance, I'd ask him, could you do me a favor while you're evaluating, while I'm speaking? Raise your hand. Raise your hand when I'm speaking too quickly. That'll cue me in to slowing down. That'll remind me in the moment that I should be slowing down. Will it be annoying? You bet it will be. You bet it. Will I become more cognizant of the fact that I'm doing it? Yeah, absolutely. We also have an counter. This is a fun role. Counter. An counter counts your ums, ahs, you know, so's, the rest of that kind of stuff. All those filler words. We did this in one meeting. It was the most annoying thing in the world. And we were laughing hysterically throughout the whole thing. I don't think the speakers were. But here's what happens. Speakers giving a presentation. Every time they use a filler word, you know, so, whatever their filler word might be, and could be anything. Everyone that was in that room that night got a little box of paper clips. And every time the speaker said, you know, whatever, any one of those filler words, everybody shook the box. It was incredibly annoying. Threw the speaker off balance. It was hysterical. What it did do, though, it added a little bit of levity to the meeting, too. But it made the speaker much more aware of what they were doing wrong while they were doing it. That's immediate feedback. Could you ever get immediate feedback at an event? No, unless everybody fell asleep on you. Well, that's immediate feedback. Everybody a round of applause for you? Might be. Look, you give a presentation at your place of work, and you're the owner of the business, and you're doing it with your managers, and you finish your speech. Are they going to applaud you? Probably. Why are they applauding you? I don't know. Maybe you signed the paychecks. Hey, round of applause for those who signed paychecks. Was it really a good speech? Can you ask them, you know, I just finished this speech. What could I do to improve on it? Are you going to get real feedback? No, I don't think you will. Not in that setting. And if you ask that question after your speech, how did I do? That sends a very bad message, because now what you're doing is you're questioning your ability as a speaker. You're questioning yourself in front of them, who you're supposed to be the authority because you have that microphone. And I can tell you, when you have the microphone, you are the authority. Without a doubt, you're the perceived authority. That microphone does wondrous things when it comes to establishing somebody's credibility. And you may not even be the smartest person in the room, but if you know how to communicate well, you will be perceived as the smartest person in the room. Very important. So from a business perspective, a branding perspective, all the rest of that stuff, that being able to communicate is so unbelievably important. Being able to practice is just as important. That's one of the great things about Toastmasters. Monetarily speaking, it's not much, roughly $100 a year. You're a member of Toastmasters International. You can visit any club, anytime, any place. Fantastic. You want to speak at any club, anywhere, any place, anytime. You probably can. You got to let that club know that you're coming. See if there's a role in there for you to fill. Chances are many of the clubs, especially the lower membership clubs, would love to have somebody from the outside come in and speak. This way, they're not listening to the same people all the time. A club with 10 members, 5 active, same people talking all the time. Gets a little monotonous. And if you're a speaker inside of that club, you're getting feedback from the same people all the time. Gets a little monotonous. You get somebody else to come in to give a speech, maybe do an evaluation, maybe do both. Now you're getting feedback from somebody who has never heard you speak before, so you're getting different opinions, and you get a chance to hear somebody different. Fantastic. Really is. Our club, Stony Brook Speech Wolves, we meet on the second and fourth Thursday of every month from 6 to 7:30. If you are interested, message me down here. I'll put the link up for this thing before I finish. We'll tune out. I'll go back with the shared screen, and this time I will, with our club website. You want to come as a guest, there's no fee. None of us get paid. Here's that for another beautiful thing in there. None of us get paid. Yes, none of us get paid. There's a couple of employees, I don't know, 100 employees. I don't know exactly what the head count is. They're out in Colorado, and there's hundreds of thousands of members across the world. Let me tell you, it's a run by very few people, as that goes. Pathways program can be adapted to whatever your needs are, and we all join for different reasons. Sometimes it's just because you're afraid to speak in front of a crowd and you're able to do that. Other times you want to become more effective in some special area. Want to do that. There's ways to do it. You have any questions about that, let me know. Let's go back to the shared screen here. Thank you folks for joining me today. Always a pleasure. And I will tell you yet again, speak well, speak often, and live inspired. And if you need a little assistance on the speaking well side, you got the Toastmaster thing. Plus, June 14th, I'm at the Miller Business Center. We're going to be talking about elevator pitches and delivering that elevator pitch with confidence. Should be a lot of fun. We're going to bring some friends along too, so it'll be good. We'll definitely have a good time. All right, here we go. Let's put that back. And there we go. That is the club website, Stony Brook Speech Wolves. And I do thank everybody for joining us here today. As always, let's go back to StreamYard. Comment. That's the website. I'm going to put it up over here. And if you just want to go to toastmastersinternational.org, you can find a club that is in your area. There's a find a club thing in there. You put in your zip code and you're good to go. That's the story, friends. Stay well. Enjoy the rest of the day.